Hello and welcome to part 4 of the series on how to edit the global default settings for pop-up. So from the home page dashboard, you click on the admin settings global page. This is only available to the admin administrator role level. You come down, it lands on licenses by default, and you click on the desktop pop-up icon for settings. So this sets all the default options that you see when you send out a pop-up. Where we left off, let's see, it was, I believe, marquee. Okay, so default alert marquee, that's that scroll. If you want the text to scroll across the pop-up, use it like a news ticker that goes across the screen. If you want that to be that the alert pop-up goes out that way by default, you would turn that to on and click save. I'll show you where that is under new alert. And then you go to options. And you click on the desktop plus node here to expand all the options that you have, and you'll see marquee is on. So if that global setting was off that I just turned on, this would be off. And to make the text scroll across the alert, you would turn this to on. Now, of course, you probably also maximize the width to cover all computer screen sizes, and you would narrow the height to like a 275, right? And you would start it, probably from the top right. So it just scrolls across the top of user screens. So that's how you would do a marquee alert. That's the global setting to have it on by default. Let's go back. Now you could also set the speed. It's set to a speed of how fast the text scrolls across. So first of all, we'll turn this off because usually your default alerts are just a standard pop-up, not a scrolling marquee. So you would simply, I can't find that marquee setting. Here we go. And here's the speed. So you can, the minimum is 6,000. Well, the maximum is 6,000 for the speed. So you can make it really slow or really fast. And you can send previews until you like what the speed is. So that sets the default speed value. There's also, the next feature is whether or not, if you have speakers, you could read that main content. It'll convert the content of the pop-up alert and speak it aloud when the pop-up displays. If you have speakers, so that you turn it on or off. Say hit save, and I go to new alert, and I go to options, and I'll see that speak the alert content is on. So if it was toggled off under global settings, then it would be off, and I'd have to manually turn it on. So that's the default value for that, for speaking the alert content. Let's go back to the next feature. So we'll turn that off by default. You may not want to have that read aloud for every alert. We'll turn that off. So the next one is the acknowledgement options. So typically it's an X button at the top right. That's a good setting for default. But if you like the acknowledge button, a little gray button in the lower left that says acknowledge instead of the upper right X button, you can set that as your default for every alert. So if I hit save, and I go to OK, and I go to new alert, and then I go to options, and I expand options, I will see that acknowledge button is set by default. I could also have the acknowledge button with numeric response as the default, which forces a user to select a number from 0 through 9 from a grid before he can acknowledge it. So let me just show you what an acknowledge button looks like quick, just so you see the difference between an upper right and a lower left button. Plus, and send the alert. And we'll see if we can quickly show you what that looks like. We wait for about 20 seconds is the polling, 20 to 30 seconds poll. So there it is. So you see acknowledge. See the acknowledge button in the lower left. Now, if I acknowledge, now with a numeric response, when I click on acknowledge, a grid would show up from 0 through 9, and the user just clicks on the number and then it closes and acknowledges. Now you'll see that alert showed up in the middle. So what I must have set this for is center, right? Default location. So bottom right, and then I hit save. And that way the alert would go out bottom right by default. Okay, so one more thing. Let's go over one more thing. And that's the default expires days, hours, and minutes. So that's all found under the scheduling tab. So this is the amount of time the alert will keep trying to send the alert to screens, keep trying to send a phone call, et cetera, mobile apps. It'll keep trying to tally acknowledgements until it reaches the expiration period, and then it stops trying to tally the acknowledgements and the alert stops. And that's found under the scheduling tab. If we go to new alert, we go to scheduling, and you'll see expires days, hours, minutes, 45. So, you know, we just set that for the demo server. Most alerts probably about 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours is your typical message that you want to get out there. Okay, thank you. See part 5, the final of the series. Thank you.